Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. My name is Matt. On YouTube, we post just one new story each week, but on our podcast, you'll find several fresh episodes released throughout the week. You can listen to us on all major platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Pandora, and more, all completely ad-free. Just look us up under the same name, Deep Sleep Stories, and enjoy. Now, take a deep breath, and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where a gentle hush falls over all worries and where each breath draws you closer to peace. Tonight, you are invited into a realm of softly drifting autumn leaves in a fairy tale forest, a place where the trees themselves seem to whisper lullabies to weary travelers. For a moment, allow your eyes to rest, your breathing to slow. Notice how the rhythm of your breath matches the tranquil pace of this quiet evening. With every inhale, gather calmness into your chest. With every exhale, release the weight that has clung to you throughout the day. Let your shoulders drop, your face loosen, and your mind become as open and spacious as a wide, moonlit meadow. There is nothing you need to fix or solve right now. Only the gentle invitation to drift inward and discover the soothing magic that awaits. Feel how each breath brings you into softer, quieter layers of yourself. Imagine that all the tension in your body is dissolving like mist at sunrise, replaced by a comforting warmth that settles around your heart. This is your safe haven, your shelter from the storms of life and the hurried bustle of the outside world. It is the place where day-to-day worries can gently be set aside, leaving space for soft curiosity and the promise of rest. Soon you will hear the story of a forest preparing for its own slumber beneath a canopy of amber, russet, and gold leaves. But for now, simply let your mind wander, unhurried and unburdened. Let your eyelids grow heavier, soothed by the anticipation of a journey that asks nothing of you but presence. In just a moment, we will begin a story set in a quiet woodland, an enchanted realm where each leaf speaks of gentle change, and every footstep upon the forest floor carries you deeper into a dreamlike calm. As you settle, keep breathing slowly, deeply, feeling your chest rise and fall in a steady, comforting rhythm. A sense of quiet expectancy glows within you, as if a small lantern has been lit in the center of your being. Now allow your thoughts to float by like clouds, unattached to any particular strand of worry. There is nowhere to be other than right here, lulled by the warm hush of possibility. And so the story begins. Far away beyond the boundary of bustling cities and noisy roads, there lies a forest often called the Sleeping Forest. In the gentle hours of twilight, its tall, ancient trees rustle with a soft, melodic hush, as though drifting between wakefulness and a dream of their own. It is here that a young traveler, drawn by whispered tales of shimmering lakes and glowing mushrooms, steps into the realm where leaves and branches cooperate in quiet, everlasting harmony. Her name is Marisol, and she has journeyed far to see the autumn transformation of this fabled woodland. She arrives just as the last warm rays of sunlight filter through the canopy, setting the leaves aglow in an otherworldly mosaic of burnt oranges, reds, and golds. The crisp air kisses her cheeks. Every footstep is a gentle crunch upon a trail layered with fallen leaves that swirl like tiny dancers, whirling in slow, elegant spirals. The forest stretches before her, a corridor of towering trunks and softly glimmering foliage. Marisol pauses beneath a grand oak whose branches span wide, forming a natural archway, as if to welcome her. She can almost sense a slumbering presence in the bark and leaves. The wind sighs through the branches in a hushed lullaby, and the sound resonates in her very bones. In this dreamy hush, the forest exudes not loneliness, but a tender invitation to step into its timeless dance. She moves onward, each step increasingly unhurried. Her senses attune themselves to the forest's lull, the dry rustle of leaves overhead, the soft echo of her footsteps, the gentle swirl of crisp air. She notices a subtle glow emanating from clusters of fungi nestled at the base of ancient trunks. Their pale luminescence dapples the ground in soft patterns, guiding her forward. And so she walks with a quiet sense of wonder, her eyes drifting over the radiant tapestry of autumn color. In every leaf that trembles on a branch, she sees an intricate pattern of veins catching the last of the daylight. She imagines they are lines of an ancient script, whispering secret stories from the forest's depths. Some leaves part ways with their branches in graceful arcs, floating downward like small golden sails, landing softly among their siblings on the forest floor. From time to time, a gentle breeze lifts them, swirling them in a hushed waltz before settling once more. As dusk deepens, the path grows more shadowed, yet the trees seem to glow from within, their brilliant leaves reflecting the fading light. A sense of sleepiness begins to envelop the forest, as though every creature, big or small, prepares for a deep and restful slumber. Even the squirrels perched high in the branches cease their chatter, curling into their nests with contented sighs. Somewhere in the distance, an owl hoots, low and comforting, reminding every living thing that night's embrace is near. Marisol inhales the sweet scent of decaying leaves mixed with the crispness of the night air. Her breath merges with the soft hush. She feels as though the forest itself breathes alongside her. One step at a time, she follows the winding trail deeper and deeper, letting the dappled moonlight guide her. Through the canopy, she spies a shimmering slice of sky, glimmering with early stars that appear almost to blink in sympathy with the slowly drifting leaves. In time, Marisol finds herself by a shallow stream that sings gently over stones. The water is so clear that she can see the reflection of the autumn canopy above, the fiery leaves appearing like floating lanterns on the surface. She stops to listen, letting the quiet gurgle of the stream wash through her mind. In its gentle music, she detects a soothing resonance, as if the water is humming a lullaby, meant to calm not only the forest, but any weary traveler who pauses to listen. Nearby, a cluster of willows droop their slender branches, trailing the surface of the stream. Their golden leaves drift upon the water, forming delicate patterns that swirl away downstream. Marisol kneels to dip her hand into the cool flow. The sensation is brisk, a briskness that awakens her sense of wonder rather than jolts her awake. It is a reminder that in this enchanted woodland, each sensation holds the promise of deeper serenity, an invitation to slow down further. Rising, she follows a curved trail that leads along the stream's bank. The twilight grows deeper with each passing moment, yet far from being lost in darkness, the forest seems to transform into a realm of soft luminescence. Faint fireflies begin to appear, flickering like tiny lanterns among the leaves, dancing in slow arcs around the trunks and branches. They mirror the glow of the moonbeams, weaving gentle patterns of light across the air. As Marisol walks, she recalls stories she once heard of a hidden clearing known as the forest's heart, a secret place where the ancient trees gather in a ring, standing watch over a pool so still it seems to hold the reflections of multiple worlds. They say that in the hush of autumn nights, this clearing resonates with a deep, comforting lull, guiding all who come upon it into a state of tranquil surrender. She continues down winding pathways, enthralled by the silent harmony that envelops the sleeping forest. Now and then, she glimpses small woodland creatures, a hare nibbling on fallen nuts in a patch of moonlight, a fox dozing beneath the low branches of a pine, a cluster of birds tucked in the crook of an old oak's trunk. Their stillness seems to echo through the woodland. All are a part of this drifting lullaby, this final winding down before the deeper quiet of late night takes hold. A gentle slope draws her near a clearing where the trees part, revealing a broad expanse of moonlit foliage. In the center stands a circle of towering maples, their leaves ablaze with colors even in the dim glow. Fiery orange and crimson that seem to catch the moonlight, turning them into stained glass windows in a natural cathedral. At the center of this circle, a small pool mirrors the night sky. The water is nearly black in its stillness, dotted with drifting leaves that momentarily catch the flickers of starlight, like small glowing boats floating across a dark sea. Marisol steps quietly to the pool's edge, standing at the threshold of the forest's heart. The atmosphere feels reverent, as if she has walked into a sacred hall. No breeze disturbs the water's surface, not even the slightest ripple stirs the reflection of the moon. She inhales deeply, allowing the stillness to seep into her own heart. Here, even the trees seem to breathe more slowly, as though lulled by centuries of silent companionship. As she gazes into the pool, she sees the reflection of trees and stars blending together, as though the boundary between sky and forest has vanished. Leaves drift lazily across the surface, swirling in small spirals, before settling near the edges. The hush that envelops the clearing is profound. Beneath the canopy, time seems suspended, replaced by a gentle, rhythmic lull. In that hush, a soft, shimmering glow appears at the far side of the pool. At first, it might be mistaken for another firefly, but it grows slightly brighter, illuminating a slender figure moving with the grace of a drifting leaf. A fairy, no bigger than a hummingbird, emerges from behind a mossy stone. Her wings, translucent and veined with shimmering lines, glisten like a faint rainbow in the moonlight. She hovers near the water's surface, her presence as gentle as a sigh. Marisol watches quietly, heart softening at the sight of this tiny forest guardian. The fairy floats closer, pausing to dip a small toe into the water, sending out the faintest ripple. There is an air of serene curiosity about her, as if she senses the traveler's peaceful spirit. With a delicate tilt of her head, she releases a tiny bell-like sound, a laugh so faint it resembles the trickling of distant water. Marisol settles onto a patch of soft moss, hoping not to startle her silent companion. She lets her eyes rest on the shimmering wings, the way they catch the moonlight in fragile arcs of color. Minutes flow by without urgency. Here, in the center of the sleeping forest, watchers and woodland spirits share the profound stillness of a crisp autumn night. Gradually, more tiny lights appear. Small clusters of fairies drift from behind ferns and the trunks of ancient maples, their warm glow reflecting on the still surface of the pool. They circle above the water in slow, spiraling dances, as if weaving a tapestry of light. Their presence is gentle, a living lullaby that calms the forest's hush even further. Some rest briefly on fallen leaves, rocking softly upon the water's surface like miniature boats. Others flutter in the air, guiding the drifting leaves into patterns that shimmer in the dimness. Marisol remains quietly enthralled. She feels the forest's pulse slow, each breath of wind measured and tranquil. The fairies bring no disturbance. Instead, they bring a sense of childlike wonder, sprinkling tiny droplets of enchantment into the hush. If she listens closely, she thinks she can hear a faint hum, a tender melody that emanates from the circle of trees. It resonates in her ears like a distant choir of leaves, branches, and fairy wings, all tuned to the same restful note. As the night settles deeper, the temperature cools. A gentle mist begins to gather near the mossy ground, swirling around tree roots and over the surface of the pool. The fairies float lazily, sometimes disappearing into the mist, then emerging in little groups of pale light. The entire clearing takes on the appearance of a dream made visible, a place where reality loosens its hold and imagination breathes freely. Marisol's eyes grow heavy, lulled by the mesmerizing dance of moonlight, mist, and softly pulsing fairy glow. Yet she feels content to remain awake just a little longer, savoring each moment of this rare, enchanted night. She notices how the trunk of each maple rises from a carpet of fallen leaves, thick and soft, like a tapestry. The leaves carry the memory of gentle breezes, sunny afternoons, and the forest's steady march towards slumber. In the center of the pool, a single lily pad floats, upon which stands a leaf shaped like a tiny cup. One fairy touches the leaf's rim, and it releases a faint, silvery note. The fairy's wings glimmer, and she darts away with a flutter, leaving behind a ripple that gently expands across the pool's surface. The forest accepts the ripple with quiet, embracing the minute motion, then gradually letting it fade into stillness. Eventually, the fairies begin to retreat to hidden alcoves within the thick bark of the ancient trees. Their lights diminish to subtle pinpoints, no more intrusive than starlight. The hush of the forest deepens as though lulled into an even softer layer of rest. Somewhere overhead, a gentle breeze stirs, causing the highest branches to sway in a tender lullaby. Leaves drift down, each swirl carrying a final glimmer of moonlight. Marisol, sensing the change, feels the draw of rest tug at her own mind. She rises from the mossy ground and steps away from the pool's edge, letting the faint trail of fairies guide her back toward a nearby clearing of soft grass. She lays out a small blanket, nestled between two large roots that form a natural cradle in the earth. The ground beneath her is cool and comforting, the air around her filled with the gentle fragrance of autumn's passage into slumber. With the forest humming its quiet lullaby, Marisol closes her eyes. The whisper of the wind through the leaves, the distant gurgle of the stream, and the rhythmic hush of the ancient trees accompany her into a dreamlike state. She can still sense the subtle glow of fairy light dancing across her closed eyelids, like a comforting, ethereal night light that keeps watch while she rests. As her breaths grow slow and measured, she visualizes the falling leaves drifting down in leisurely spirals, each one a token of calm that floats through her mind, gently clearing away the clutter of thought. The hush of the sleeping forest envelops her, smoothing away the jagged edges of fatigue. Here, in this cradle of nature, she allows herself to let go completely, to merge with the forest's vast, timeless stillness. Throughout the night, the forest's living pulse continues in its soft refrain. The branches sway as if in slow, hypnotic dance, and the leaves keep falling in their gentle, swirling patterns. Foxes curl deeper into their dens, birds tuck their beaks beneath feathery wings, and the fairies, hidden among thick moss and hollows, rest in their own shining dreams. In the heart of this realm, each living thing participates in a symphony of quiet exhalation, a shared release of tension as the day surrenders to night. Underneath the wide sky dotted with an infinite array of stars, the sleeping forest stands as a testament to nature's ability to find stillness. Even in the vibrant swirl of falling leaves, there is a profound calm, a sense of inevitability that fosters surrender rather than resistance. The trees, centuries old, have witnessed countless seasons. They know well the cycle of growth, flourishing, and the gentle letting go that autumn demands. They demonstrate it now with each leaf that drifts to the soil below, becoming nourishment for future growth. Come morning, the forest will greet a new day with a hush and a faint glimmer of sunlight through the thinning canopy. But for now, it is content to exist in this suspended state of dreamy twilight. Marisol, wrapped in her blanket at the base of the maple circle, rests peacefully, her heartbeat aligned with the forest's own unhurried rhythm. Sleep descends in gentle layers as the wind caresses the leaves and the leaves softly touch the earth. Soft hours slip by as the night matures, yet the forest knows only this steady lull. It breathes as one, tree and leaf, stream and stone, creature and fairy. In that living stillness, the deep essence of quiet is shared among all who dwell here, an unspoken understanding that this is a time for rest and renewal. The season has prepared them all for it. The crispness in the air, the shifting palette of leaves, the hush that speaks of patience and surrender. Over time, as starlight subtly merges into the first hint of dawn, tiny birds begin to stir within their hidden nests. A faint rustle of wings is heard, though no eager morning calls break the lingering night's hush. The forest remains in that drowsy place between darkness and light, prolonging the moment of stillness for as long as it can. Even the creatures that would normally begin to forage at first light sense the hush that blankets this realm. They delay their stirring, as though soothed by the forest's hush, to remain in peaceful slumber a while longer. In her dreams, Marisol floats through drifting leaves of infinite color. She perceives the faint tinkling of fairy bells and the rustle of wings that conjure gentle breezes. Soft imagery of tall trees dancing in a swirl of autumn hues weaves through her mind. Each scene dissolves into the next with languid smoothness, guided by the calm presence that saturates this special woodland. Even in sleep, she feels the grounding comfort of being cradled by the earth. Hours slip away like streams of moonlight turning to dawn. And though the sky slowly lightens, the shift is so gentle that night doesn't so much end as softly fade. The leaves overhead begin to catch the new day's glow, changing from silver to pale gold. One by one, starlight winks out, replaced by the hushed promise of morning. The forest readies itself to wake, but only in the mildest, most tranquil way. A pale, warm glow on the horizon finally signals the approach of sunrise. The sky above the sleeping forest deepens from a star-dotted indigo to a soft lilac, then to the faintest pink. Long rays of early light filter through the thin canopy, painting patterns of gold across the forest floor. The leaves that fell overnight rest quietly in shimmering piles, each a token of autumn's gentle artistry. Marisol drifts on the edge of wakefulness, lulled by the forest's patience. Eventually her eyes open to see the pale morning light dancing over the pool at the clearing's center. The fairies are nowhere to be seen, having retreated into the deeper layers of the forest's magic, hidden from daytime eyes. Yet their faint glow seems to linger, woven into the stillness of the air. Rising slowly, she stretches, inhaling the crisp morning air. Dew sparkles on the moss and leaves around her, and the forest resonates with a deep, quiet vitality. She takes a moment to admire the dawn-lit clearing, the circle of trees that watched over her while she slept, and the pool's surface now reflecting the pastel colors of morning. A sense of profound gratitude wells within her for the forest's gentle guardianship and the tranquil rest it granted her. Yet the forest does not demand thanks. It merely continues in its ancient cycle, carrying day into night, autumn into winter, with steady, unhurried grace. Marisol feels a lightness in her heart, as though the forest's hush has left an imprint there, a reminder that within stillness lies the power to restore body and spirit. Gathering her blanket, she takes a final look at the sleeping leaves scattered around her. They seem content, each one fulfilling its purpose in a gentle surrender to the earth. Turning away, she begins the path out of the clearing, stepping carefully so as not to disturb the hush. The forest, though beginning to wake, remains wrapped in the lingering calm of night's quiet farewell. As she walks, she notes again the soft glow of mushrooms at the base of trees, now faint in the morning's light. Squirrels rustle in distant branches, but even they move as though mindful of the forest's lingering dream. Though Marisol's journey home awaits, she knows that the essence of this place will linger within her thoughts. The sleeping forest, with its kaleidoscope of autumn leaves and gentle lullabies, has a way of planting seeds of tranquility in every visitor's spirit. Long after she leaves the forest behind, the memory of the quiet hush, the glowing fairies, and the tender lull of the trees will guide her when life's busyness threatens her sense of calm. She notices her footsteps feeling lighter than when she first arrived. Her mind, cleared of chatter, rests in that mellow space between waking and sleeping, where ideas drift gently, unforced. The forest's hush is now her own hush, woven into each breath. The path bends around a mossy outcrop, and she follows it, glimpsing at the brightening sky through arcs of fiery leaves overhead. It is a final salute of color before autumn yields to the deeper hush of winter. At last, the gentle outline of the forest's edge comes into view, where tall trees begin to thin and the horizon beyond hints at open fields. Marisol steps across the threshold as quietly as she entered, feeling the change in atmosphere, a subtle shift from the enchanted hush to the everyday world. Yet that hush is not lost. It hums softly in her chest, a kindly companion that will continue to remind her of the healing power of stillness. Her story in the sleeping forest may have reached its conclusion, but the forest's lullaby continues. Within the grove, leaves will go on floating down like golden confetti, while at night the tiny fairies will emerge once more to carry out their soft, shimmering dance. The ancient trees will stand witness, quietly bridging the worlds of daylight and dreams. Now that our tale of drifting leaves and luminous fairies draws to a close, you too can begin your own gentle descent into dream. The forest's hush has woven through the story, helping to slow your breath, soften your thoughts, and cradle you in a gentle calm. Perhaps you feel your own eyelids growing heavy, as if a soft autumn breeze has encouraged you to let go of the day. In this final moment of wakefulness, notice how your breath has grown even slower. Your muscles are limp with relaxation. There is a soft buzzing in the distance of your mind, a lull that beckons you to drift down, to sink into a peaceful slumber. Let the memory of golden leaves swirling in moonlight accompany you as you settle. Imagine those leaves softly spiraling through your thoughts, clearing space for rest. Each exhale guides you deeper into the forest of your own dreams. Feel your eyelids heavier than before, your body warm and supported. You are safe, soothed, and deeply at peace, as though wrapped in the sleeping forest's timeless hush. Let your breathing become a distant rhythm, like the gentle lapping of water on a moonlit shore. This is your moment of surrender, your time to nestle into the silence and warmth of a well-deserved rest. Good night, dear traveler. May the hush of autumn leaves and the soft glow of fairy light guide you into the sweetest of dreams. Sleep well.